Okay, so we're starting now on the oak, or not oak, we're starting on the uh, hickory nuts and walnuts sections. They are in the same family, which is Juglandaceae. This is Caria cordiformis, and it is in the walnut family, uh, and they're just combined as oak hickory or walnut hickory. Um, Now, the neatest thing about this plant, well, two things maybe, but the first one I like the most is the buds at the tip, especially. So we're going to try to find gold. See if you can find gold colored tips of branches. Well, there's one at the top left, and there's one at the bottom middle right, and they look golden. And in the wintertime, especially about now, which is January, they are absolutely gorgeous. So try gold hunting sometime when you walk out in the woods. And if you find them, you almost certainly have the bitternut hickory. The bitternut hickory is also has a compound leaf, as do the rest of the walnuts and the hickory nuts. This is the compound leaf has a main stem that attaches to the branch, and then it only goes to the first leaf, and then the rest of that branch or stem is called the rachis, and attached to it, in this case, oppositely is the leaflets. These are called leaflets. The whole thing is called the leaf. So leaflets, individual ones, and leaf, the whole thing. So the one on the bottom, the leaf probably fell off. And these are opposite. They can be alternate at times. Okay, so then also we have the nuts there, and they are inedible for the most part, unless you really boiled the nut itself over and over and over. And these are hulls on around the black part are the hulls that cover the nut. And there are usually 3 or 4 of those in bitternut. Okay. Okay, this is shagbark hickory, and shagbark hickory is properly named because it does have shaggy, long strips of bark that peel away from the bottom edge, especially. Sometimes I think some of them will fall off totally. One of the neat things about the shagbark is it does harbor bats. Bats like to go underneath these shaggy pieces of bark and just sleep there during the daytime. So you might look for that if you see shagbark. The nut is at the top, and it is similar to the bitter nut a little bit. And at the bottom is a bud scale, and this scale has fur on it, and it attaches it grows on the bud itself. And then in the early spring, when these buds start growing and getting nutrients sent to them to make them grow, these things will fall off. Usually they're curly, so you have to unfurl them to see the fur inside. But my mom used to give me these. She said they were fairies' capes. So the terminal bud is the largest one usually, and that's the terminal bud at the top up there, and then they are alternate from there. So Juglandaceae is the family. Okay, so this next slide is we're going to the walnut group. Of course, they're in the walnut family, and this is a new one for me, really, because I never knew it existed. I always knew the only walnut I knew really was the black walnut, which we'll see next. But this one is a pretty neat seed. It's got ridges along the sides, which you can't quite see, but you can see some lines going from top left to bottom right on it. And it's a very hard shell. It's very gritty on the outside. And this is the white walnut, Juglans cinerea, and it's his Juglandaceae family, and it's alternate. and compound leaves, which I do not have on there, but I explained that on the last slide, so I think you'll be all right. It's fairly rare around here. I have a couple of those in my yard, but I have not yet to get a walnut on them. So I'm excited for this year to come and see if I can't get one. The top bud is very light grayish and very fuzzy, or fairly fuzzy. And we'll talk about the leaf scar. Down below that, there's a leaf scar there that you see some dots on. And I see 3 dots, and it's like there's a face looking at me, just like the ET on the American elm. Okay, this one's different. I don't call him ET. I call him a gorilla. And he looks like a gorilla to me. And he's got that chin below and a rounded head. And the other thing about this one, it looks like the walnut one, except that this one has a crew cut haircut. If you look at the top of that one we just looked at, you'll see a little vertical kind of fuzziness, perhaps, and it's kind of golden looking when you see it in real life. I don't see it as terribly gold. It's just kind of a light gray, but it looks like a crew cut. So that's and also down the base is the center of the stem is black, and it has little windows in it, or little slides, little flat circular slides that go into making this pith. Okay, so that's the pith of the walnut. It is pretty distinctive. Okay. Okay, and the last one I think for this session is the black walnut. I cut a black walnut in half, and you can see the nuts on the left-hand side there. They're like kind of a light brown color when they come out. The pith is up there, and it's the chambered pith. It has little circles that like checkers that you could put side by side with a little space in between them. And this is called chambered pith. And the nut is up at the top, and these buds are grayish, very similar to the white walnut, except that the gorilla does not have a crew cut haircut. He must be bald, I guess. So we have black walnut, Juglans nigra for black, and Juglandaceae, alternate compound leaf, and it contains juglants chemicals, which prevent growth around the base of the bigger walnuts. So they will kill anything just about that grows under there. So that's a fairly interesting fact.